instruct the EPA to say that carbon dioxide is a deadly poison. And they're going to go ahead and implement the tax. We've got to fight it. We've got to make the Senate and the House do their job. The states have to say no. If we'll just get up off our butts, I mean, if a bully comes over and starts punching us and we lay there, we know he's going to win. But if we just attack the bully, if he's bigger than us in the info war, pick up a rock, slam it upside their head. I mean that figuratively. I mean, do whatever you got to. Pick up a stick. I mean, we got the info war. Let's get nasty with these people. Let's take them on. Let's discredit these criminals. They're scumbag, degenerate filth that will be defeated. All right, here's the deal. I want to continue with phone calls, and then I want to get into internet censorship in the United States, Canada, England, Australia. The Western world is starting to outdo China. I mean, it's really happening. I want to get into some economic news. There's a bunch of stuff I haven't gotten to. I have some other video clips I want to play, but I want to continue taking your calls. Ash, Paul, Roger, Adam, Byrne, Joe, and others. Toll-free number to join us, 1-800-259-9231. But finishing up with ClimateGate, we do have the initiative. They are on the run. They've been caught in fraud over and over and over and over again. And they always just say, there's a consensus, no one disagrees, and just move on. But now the fact that they're lying on purpose has been exposed. The third world got the leaked text last week. I told you that was a big deal. I mean, it's like jumping in front of a train's a big deal. I mean, I'm not that smart. When they keep the treaty secret, they plan to keep it secret until Thursday so they could ram it through with Obama there. I mean, imagine how these governments operate. Oh, the treaty's secret. We can't let you see it, and then they leak it, and it says the third world has to make right at double the cuts, and it's meant to shut them off so the IMF and World Bank can take over and totally control them. Then we'll have a banking dictatorship. The UN will have no power. Private banks will rule the planet. I mean, it's just so openly certified corruption, certified tyranny. And, of course, the third world was suckered and told, oh, yeah, you're going to get all of America's money. You're going to get all of Europe and Japan's money. Yes, the same IMF and World Bank that have always been robbing you blind, they're going to suddenly give you all this money because George Soros promises because he's a nice man. And these gullible fools, all paid off by Soros and the UN, I guess they weren't fools, showed up thinking they were about to get a bunch of money, and they were told, actually, we're going to kill most of the people in your country. 15 million starve to death every year. Just our ethanol scam, taking the food production for gasoline, that made 10 million more starve to death. This will be 100-fold that. How's that sound? And the people were like, even though you bought us off, you want to kill most of our people? Yes, we do. And have a one-child policy. How does that sound? Well, gee, already most of our people know you spike the vaccines and kill them. We're going to get overthrown if we try this. And the Africans were crying on TV over it. And our media would spin it and go, the Africans want America to make bigger cuts because America flooded the ocean and made Africa flood. I mean, literally, they're on the news saying Africa's flooding. I mean, it's just... The UN's own report says we've had the least amount of natural disasters per capita in the last decade than... Well, where is that Reuters article? I've got it here in the stack. Let me give you the exact headline. I forget the exact number. It's big oil behind climate scam. Doesn't matter. I'll find it. Hey, you guys, I printed off that article about the UN. Oh, it doesn't matter. About the UN says... The last decade's one of the least violent. I'll find it in a minute. African states in climate talks boycott. Deadlock threatens the Copenhagen climate deal. That's back today. Climate treaty, we create new global agencies to transfer money and technology from U.S. and other developed countries to third world. You mean to the IMF and World Bank. Gore, polar ice may vanish. Here it is. Natural disasters at decade low. There you go. In 2009 UN report, Reuters. So it's a decade low this year. and some of that other news. But the point here is that they are in big trouble, but they're not going to stop. These are criminals. They want to run your life. And they are brainwashing your kids. They run your local schools. They run everything. And you've got to go to your city councils, go to your school boards and say, stop teaching this fraud. Stop teaching my kid your one-child policy. Stop your brainwashing. You degenerate control freaks. Get out of my life, you parasites. We're going to come back, take a bunch of calls, get into the big push now, not just for government-run health care, which looks like it may pass, but for a bunch of new... All right, let's blast through your phone calls right now, then I'm going to get into more of what's developing across our planet as we desperately fight the private global corporate takeover known as the New World Order. Oh, before I do that, I am famous for saying I'm going to cover something and then not doing it. I know, because I move off to something else, but I said I would talk about Tiger Woods. So let me just talk about Tiger Woods right now. 2-3 weeks ago, when he first had the wreck, everybody called me wanting me to talk about it. Why should I care if somebody at 1 o'clock in the morning has a wreck by their house, and if their wife was attacking him, that's par for the course? I mean, welcome to decadent America. They're worth $1 billion, and they're not happy. And, you know, if it comes out that Tiger Woods is running giant child kidnapping rings with DynCorp and Halliburton, then I'll become concerned. I mean, yes, he liked racy women, and he liked a lot of them. And what he did, I'm sure, isn't good for his wife and children, and it's not good. But compared to Halliburton and DynCorp on congressional record running giant child kidnapping rings, on record. Chicago Tribune, Associated Press, big UN groups caught in Asia, in Africa, in Latin America, in Eastern Europe, in Central Europe, running giant sex slave rings, kidnapping children, using UN aircraft to fly them out all over the world. But see, no, we can't talk about that. We've got to talk about Tiger Woods with 30-year-old hookers. We can't talk about offshore banks that have stolen over $23 trillion in the last year from us. We can't talk about how they're setting up a value-added tax and national federally administered sales tax to track everything we buy, sell, and do with new bureaucracies and new taxing authorities that'll make the IRS look like choir boys. No. We can't talk about what's really in the Copenhagen Treaty, open world government, or how Obama's declaring himself an emperor, a dictator, saying if Congress won't pass the sign over of power to the UN, he'll just implement it. We can't talk about how Rand Corporation's done a report calling for the new Homeland Security divisions, the 379,000 troops, to augment all local police departments, and that local police will form auxiliaries of the new national police force run by the Pentagon. I've read all 130-plus pages in the 50-something page addendum. I suggest you go read. Give me a close shot of this, please, gentlemen. A stability police force for the United States, justification and options for creating U.S. capabilities. I mean, this is a death squad manual. It's got the force setups for the federal police. And by the way, this has already been set up. They're just now announcing it. Here's a medium stability police force unit. Here's a small stability police force. This is the federal officer that's over your small town. You've got a small town of 500 people. Well, this is the group that's going to run your life. They're going to run carbon taxes. They got special forces operatives getting in place. In the paper in Austin, black ops run this. I mean, these people aren't going to, you are going to be slaves, folks, and they mean business.